I've talked about this book a million times. This book is a book that I read anytime I feel like I need to read it. This book was given to me by one of my friends and I really enjoyed it. Hello friends, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Vidi for those of you who are new here. It is officially spring, even if it's gloomy and a little bit dark and it's still kind of raining over here, but it's the Pacific Northwest, so what do we expect? The cherry blossoms are blooming and I'm very excited because we're going to have some warm days coming up and so exciting. So spring. With spring, I thought it would be fun to give my spring recommendations. So these are all books that I've read and really enjoyed. They might not all be 5 stars, but they are still books that just remind me about spring because of some settings, because of the vibe of it overall, the flowers, maybe even the covers. I don't know, they just give spring vibes to me. To not make this video extremely long, let's jump right into it. I've talked about this book a million times. It is one of my favorite series ever, and that is The Cruel Prince by Holly Black. This is the first book in the Folk of Air trilogy. This is a young adult fantasy book. The Cruel Prince is about our main character Jude, who went through some very traumatic experiences as a kid, got kidnapped and now is raised by the murder of her parents basically, and grows up in this world of fairies, this place called Elfame, and is just trying to find her place as a human mortal in a place where these creatures, these beings are far superior than her and are constantly reminding her about it. It's just a very dangerous place for mortals in general. It is whimsical, it is fun, it is very spring, there's magic, there's a lot of nature involved, which is why it reminds me of spring. It is just an overall really good book. It's a really good fantasy, but it is still a young adult book, so it has more young adult themes in it as well. Our protagonist, I believe, is like 17 at the time, and it ages throughout the series. Overall, it's a really good book. I cannot stop recommending this book. I was not going to add it to this video, but this is just the definition of spring for me. Just the world of Elfame is spring. The powers, the magic, the creatures, spring. I'm gonna be saying that word a lot. Let's count it. Sticking to another book that I've recommended quite a few times. That is my favorite romance book, Things We Never Got Over by Lucy Score. I have the special edition because I just love this book. I first read it on Kindle. This story is a small town romance about our main character Naomi, who is a runaway bride, makes her way to this small town called Knockemout, and I believe she finds out that she's an aunt for the very first time, that her sister, her twin sister, was wreaking havoc in this town and left her daughter in a hotel unattended and stuff like that. So she's just kind of cleaning up after her sister. She meets the grump of the town and there's of course a romance between them. She's just kind of trying to figure out what to do with like this preteen that she's suddenly taking care of, and she's just trying to figure out her life. Her life is a mess. I'm rereading this upcoming month because it is one of my favorite books. I was waiting for springtime because this book again just screams spring to me, mostly because the pet name, the like endearment nickname of our main character is Daisy, and I don't know, something about it just spring for me. Romance and spring are like synonymous. They just work so well together. It's when things just start blooming, and I don't know, spring and romance, just rom-coms, everything. I love me a good romance in the spring summertime. So Things We Never Got Over, if you want a bit of a romance book. It is a rom-com, small town like I mentioned, grumpy sunshine, and slightly bit of spice, not too overwhelmingly smutty though. Moving on to a different genre. So I had to include a thriller, which is Daughter of Mine by Megan Miranda. I just had to include a thriller because I know there's people out there who will read thrillers any time of the year, like myself, and I really enjoy myself a good thriller, and this one was pretty good. I really enjoyed this one. Daughter of Mine by Megan Miranda is about our main character, I forgot her name. Hazel is summoned back to her hometown basically due to her dad's funeral, and while all of this is happening, they're going through this like major drought in their small town, and just in general I think in this area that this takes place. Because of the drought, lakes are drying up and stuff like that, and things are slowly being revealed, and the most shocking thing is that this small town revealed something in their massive lake, which was a car. So they took it out and they're basically trying to find out like who does it belong to, how did it get there and stuff like that. And all at the same time, like the death of Hazel's father is going on, and there's just a lot of like family problems going on as well. There's a lot. I don't like to reveal too much about thrillers, but that's kind of like the gist of it. Like I said, takes place in like late spring. There's a drought going on. It's a thriller. If you're looking for something to kind of change the mood a little bit, if you're like me that reads so many romances, sometimes a thriller works very well during the springtime too. Daughter of Mine by Megan Miranda. Now this next book. This book is a book that I read anytime I feel like I need to read it. And honestly, when I picked it up, I found a letter from my parents in there that I guess I like put away. And it felt like a sign of,
okay, I have to pick it up again.
And that is The Alchemist by, oh my god, I am going to butcher this name, Paulo Coelho. The Alchemist is, I feel like, such a classic story, right? So I don't necessarily think spring when I think this book. I think spring, summer, especially early summer, late summer. But I feel like this book is just perfect anytime you pick it up. This story follows our main character, Santiago, who is basically on this adventure, this journey of trying to find a treasure. Along the way, he meets all these kinds of people that kind of just teach him life lessons and stuff like that. That's kind of the gist of it. I feel like it's a book that you have to read yourself because there's just so much like metaphors and significance to it, so much like meaning to every little thing that happens. Some people find it boring. It's a lot more character driven than plot driven in my opinion, because it's a lot about like self-growth and self-development, overall journey. But I do feel like The Alchemist is a really good reflective book. I feel like it has really good messages, and for me it just feels like a new beginning kind of situation almost. And spring feels like new beginnings and stuff like that a lot of the times, with like new life and stuff. If you haven't read The Alchemist, I definitely recommend picking it up. I really just enjoyed this book. So the next book I recommend for spring is Anita de Monte Laughs Last by Xochitl Gonzalez. And I don't know if it's because I read it in spring summer. I don't know if it's the book cover. I don't know what is it about it, but it just screams spring. A lot of it has to do with the magical realism of it. So this is a magical realism genre. So this story follows two people. There's two timelines we're following. We're following Anita in 1985, who is this up-and-coming artist and has a tragic death early on in her career. Just kind of like it gets forgotten. And then we follow Raquel in 1998, who is a grad student. I can't remember if she's an undergrad or grad, but point is that she's in school and she's doing a thesis on Anita and her life and like her impact, her art and stuff like that. And it just follows those two timelines. I feel like this book is more to promote discourse, healthy discourse, and there is a lot of critical thinking that you have to do and stuff like that. It has a bit of a slower start because of it, but I still find it very interesting, and I recommended this book to quite a few people and they really did enjoy it too. I feel like it's very impactful work too. So I definitely do feel like this is a good book overall. The magical realism, again, I feel encourages a lot of that spring in my mind. I think just magic overall feels very spring to me. I really enjoyed this book last spring when I read it. I would totally recommend. Oh, my leg fell asleep. Another book in the same genre of magical realism that I fully recommend. This book was given to me by one of my friends and I really enjoyed it. And I also made my boyfriend read it and he seemed to like it too, which is a win because he's not really big into reading. So, you know, it just might be a good book. And that is The Inheritance of Orquídea Divina by Zoraida Cordova. Like I mentioned, another magical realism book. This is about the Montoya's family. The Montoyas are called back home to Orquídea Divina because she is about to die and she's going to leave them all with an inheritance, and everyone, kids, grandkids, they all come back and they're just basically kind of waiting for their inheritance. Not everyone has the best relationship with Orquídea. This story definitely gives me that same kind of literary fiction from The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, in the sense of someone's telling you the story about this other person and like how extraordinary their life was and stuff like that. It's a very good story. Again, the nature of it all, the magical realism of it all just gives me very strong spring vibes. I have mentioned this before that this kind of reminds me of like an adult version of Encanto, like the beginning of it. It's overall a really good book. I would 10 out of 10 recommend. Now lastly, the only reason I put off recording this video just because I wanted to finish this book before I recorded, because I had a feeling, I just had a huge feeling this was a spring book. And that is The Hobbit by J.R.R. Tolkien. Do I have to say more? I mean, I probably do. The Hobbit is a fantasy book. It is one of the most, I want to say, famous fantasy books out there. Tolkien is a very known author, and The Hobbit is just a good place to start in the overall Middle-earth universe. The Hobbit is, like I mentioned, a fantasy book, follows the story of Bilbo, a hobbit who does not want adventure, wants a quiet, slow life to live in his little hobbit hole. It gets a visit from his friend, the wizard Gandalf. Basically tells him, hey, do you want to join an adventure? Bilbo's like,
no, but you can join me for tea tomorrow.
And Gandalf comes back with 13 dwarves, and it's just like, you're coming on an adventure with us. They go through this journey of trying to get like this treasure and stuff like that. Overall, just a very good story. I don't want to reveal anything too much about it. If you are into fantasy, I have been so intimidated about picking up these books, but The Hobbit was such a good place to start. This is not a review for it. I will be giving an actual review for it on my March wrap-up. I feel like this is a really good spring story, even though it takes place year-round, because it starts in the spring, because of the magic, because of all of the descriptions of nature and stuff like that. It just feels very spring, especially at the beginning, because it starts in spring. If you're into fantasy and you have been trying to get into the Tolkien universe, Tolkien writing, The Hobbit, for spring especially, I'm so glad I picked it up. Anyway, those are the books I recommend. I have so many other books that definitely fit the spring category, but I do not want to overwhelm you all with recommendations. And these are the books. The Cruel Prince, you're so tired of hearing me recommend this, but if you haven't read it by now, seriously, what are you doing? Things We Never Got Over, Daughter of Mine, The Alchemist, Anita de Monte Laughs Last, The Inheritance of Orquídea Divina, and The Hobbit. I hope that was enough of like a diverse genre list. That is it for this video. If you have any spring book recommendations, leave them down in the comments below. I am getting ready for my April TBR, so I would love to see what you all recommend. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't done so already and you would like to, please subscribe. I usually make book content with some slice of life here and there. Thank you all so much for watching. Thank you for staying to the end of the video if you did. Have a beautiful spring, and I will see y'all next time. Bye bye.